Ladies and gentlemen and friends who join us online right now, warm greetings to you all and welcome to the third forum on Asian Industrial Heritage Conservation. 欢迎所有的朋友们呢加入我们第三届亚洲产业文化资产论坛。We're going to focus on the role of young people, how to foster youth participation, how to bring in more young people into the preservation work. That is what we are going to talk about today. 论坛的第3个场次呢，我们要跟青年来对话，如何提升年轻人参与这个产业文化资产工作、保存工作的这个意识以及动力这是我们今天要讨论的重点。And now, let me introduce to you your moderator for today's conference. We are very happy and also very honored to have Dr. Shuenn Liou. He is the professor of Department of Architecture and also CEO of C-Hub National Cheng University, Taiwan. 接下来呢，我们要有请我们的主持人帮我们开场让我们欢迎国立成功大学建筑系教授，同时呢，也是成功大学 C-Hub 创意基地的执行长。让我们有请刘顺仁老师，有请。
Thank you for your introduction, and hello, colleagues and friends from all over the world. I'm very delighted to host this section. The topic of this section is youth dialogue, the motivation of youth participation in industrial heritage preservation. I'm very glad to introduce you to 5 speakers, and all of them actually have very much experience in hands-on and real experiences in industry heritage preservation. 3 of them are from Taiwan, 1 from Indonesia, and the other from Malaysia. And they all have affiliation with universities or with some private sectors, and they all also have the link with some other countries in addition to Taiwan, including the Netherlands and UK. And I'm very happy to introduce the first speaker, Professor Chao-Hsiang, who is currently the associate professor and researcher at the China University of Technology at the Cultural Heritage Center. So let's welcome Professor Chao-Hsiang Lee for his speech. Professor Lee.
好，那我们今天的这个论坛呢，有这个3位来自于台湾的讲师，以及1位来自于印尼，1位来自于马来西亚的讲师他们除了这个产业文化资产实务经验非常丰富之外呢，他们在大学相关的学院、私部门，甚至是不同的国家，像是荷兰以及英国，也都有相关合作的经验。那接下来呢，我们就有请我们今天第1位讲师中国科技大学文化资产研究中心副研究员暨讲师李兆祥老师，有请。
Thank you. Thank you for Professor Liu, and thank you for the Bureau of Cultural Heritage and any platform to give me such an opportunity to share my experience as a young participation. Today, I will refer to my topic. Firstly, I would like to start as my I want firstly to introduce the latest Culture 2030 indicators. This is announced by the UN, and also to highlight a very important role about the heritage expense. And it highlights the heritage expense is not only for the cost or time, it's but also including the human resource. As a young participant in the culture heritage regarding to the industrial side, I will refer to my topic today by starting with my working with the industrial heritage. Huang Creative Park, the former winery in Taipei City, is the very first part-time job I get in Taipei. And it is where I begin to calculate my enthusiasm in industrial heritage. And I witnessed his from the creative sector in between business, art, and heritage discussion. Shuenn Cemetery the former copper mining, its culture scaping is sincerely attracting me, and I have conducted my first field work here. And this lesson I learned from the site is made me aware not only the human but also the nature field can be contributed in the industrial heritage site. The Pinling Tea Museum is the very first my planning practice work in here. I joined the early stage of this museum's renew, and I'm very glad to see now he already become a hub of the tea culture route in Taiwan. This is a gold museum, the former gold mining plants. I learned a lot from how the museum staff endeavored themselves into listen and interpreted. So we can listen to the landscape, but also talk to hear the voice from the locals. This is where my academic career began in industrial heritage, the Iron Bridge Gorge in Teoh, UK. When I started my PhD study in industrial heritage, he told me a very important subject. The self-funding is not only it's not an ambition, but also a sustainable approach for industrial heritage to achieve or accomplish his life circle. This is Taiwan, but it's very coherent to the image in my last slide about Iron Bridge. Actually, here, a little bit delay, sorry about that. Yeah, this is the image of a Hotong Coal Mine Economic Park, the former coal preparation plant. In here, I have a very touched interview with the former miner, and he told me the narrative of the cultural heritage in industrial side is not only looking at the facility, but also you need to dig in further for the local stories. The Songshan Cultural Creative Park, the former tobacco factory, it also launched a series of design workshops for design for the civil participant to visiting the past and developing the future to responding the social issue and make it functional and ideal to bring the heritage into the practice. This is the summer school I organized when I studied in the UK. And this is a very good opportunity, a platform to networking and open my view and perspective in interdisciplinary professional. And this outcome also still continuing to today. The Temdrum Art Procedural Press is a former sugar refinery. It is a very, as I understanding, is a very first private sector to promote or devote itself into organizing a lot of industrial heritage funeral and conference, and I will be lucky to be part of them. This is the first heritage exhibition in Taiwan and organizing in the UK. And I'm very glad and very honored to also have Professor Liou to join us to give a very first creative and culturally lecture in the UK. This is the upcoming museum of National Taiwan Railway Museum, and this is the best hall for the workers to have a shower after their hard day work. And now I also have the opportunity after graduate to join the consulting group. And in this group, I learned a lot of the interdisciplinary professional, how to integrate the different advantage and to lead these plans to a better and bright future. This is the current practice I'm working on. It's a new piecing coal mine museum. The biggest star is here is the mono-eye electronic locomotive. And this is only one still in operation work locomotive. So we have a one box museum recently and trying to make this hard work to make it soft and be learning material for the younger generation. And the upcoming, I'm looking forward to reveal this fascinating exhibition in the future to share how the Forest Railway and its development to connect the contemporary society. By the end, I would like to summarize the above to the 5 ways to encourage the young's participation in industrial heritage. Believe the quick fix solution. If you only want to make your industrial heritage be active, you cannot just believe one quick solution because the heritage conservation and reuse, it takes time. Believe one best practice for all. Not only one-way solution for every sector or even in other heritage site. So one plans maybe have a failure model, may be useful in the other plans. Feel relief when the conservation guaranteed. When the conservation guaranteed is not the end, but the beginning of the heritage. Go further. Dig in one perception or to the industrial heritage. The industrial heritage operator or manager, you need to open your mind and attitude to accept the multiple translation and the multiple opinion. Then you can lead to any other possibility to make your as a unique site. Believe only industrial heritage is matter, itself matter. For the industrial heritage, we're always looking at the tangible object. However, the intangible narrative and story is always the much more touched and attractive people. If you didn't achieve the above, congratulations, you have been successfully include the young's participation in your industrial heritage. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Dr. Li。非常谢谢李老师刚才的分享啊。那李老师呢，刚才分享自己在这个产业文资的这个保存的这个领域，他的心路历程哦。其实，在不同的地方呢，他学到不同的心得，像是在华山园区啦、平林茶叶园区或者是黄金博物馆，他知道要如何来倾听当地人的声音哦，用这个倾听之后的这个声音呢来说故事，来转译。那另外呢，到了英国的铁桥，或者是到后来的猴硐矿生态园区以及松烟呢，他也知道要如何的导入这个设计的思维，才能够让这个设计的思维来看过去，同时开创未来更多不同的计划哦。那同时呢，这个老师他也带领了像是台英的这个夏季学院，促进台英双边的这个交流。那同时他也看到这个石鼓打击乐团哦，对于以一届私部门的这个单位来说，他们也是可以凭私部门的这个方面的这个观点来促进当地的这个产业文资的这个活化。他也看到了这个彼此公司部门以及不同的这些部门相互合作、相互倾听的重要性哦。那最后呢，也提到了透过这个文资的展览啊，或者是在台北松烟台北机场哦，他目前也参与国家铁道博物馆的这个咨询委员。那同时呢，他从这个经验当中看到了跨领域、跨部门、跨界之间对话交流的重要性。那最后呢，也提到了有几个重点，可以让这个青年呢能够更加的来参与这个保存的工作，希望不要只是把这个保存工作当成是一个速成，是觉得可以透过捷径来达成的工作，其实是要花很多时间的。那同时呢，也不要只拘泥于某一种最佳的模式哦，因为各种不同的这个场域，它需要不同的这个方面。那作为这个保存工作的人呢，也必须要随时开放自己的心胸，不要只是居于过去的这种观感哦，要用 视不同的可能性，是不同的场合来变化、来调整。那同时呢，不要只是注重产业文字这个硬体，同时要如何来说故事，从里面挖掘它的温度，其实都是非常的重要的。Thank you once again to Dr. Li for sharing so much with us. And next, we are very excited. We have our speaker online with us from Indonesia. Yes, she's waving her hands right now. We have Hasti, Tarekat Dipowijoyo, founder of Heritage Hands-On. 那接下来呢，我们开心邀请到来自于印尼跟我们连线的这个讲师哦，是这个 Heritage Hands-On 的创办人。All right, I am going to say no more. Over to you, Director Hasti.
Okay. Good day, everyone. Thank you very much for having me here. It's always a pleasure to talk about the youth. It's give optimism about the better future. Since I only have 10 minutes, so I would like to share my presentations quickly, and hopefully we will have more time to explore during the discussion. Okay, this is, yeah. Can you see the picture now? Okay, so this is me in the former sugar factory in Central Java in Indonesia. One of the first largest industrial heritage initiated by the public-private government. The youth in Indonesia is very important because they are more than a fourth of the populations. And this is the report of the United Nations Population Fund. And so the youth play important roles in the country. And the youth works in different ways with, for example, my generations. And with the social media, especially work effectively, whether they represent formal organizations or they represent their own interests. And Instagram, for example, is the most important methods that they use. I just show you some of the groups or organizations who are active daily, posting something in their Instagram account. So probably you can check something. Of course, some of them with Indonesian words, but most of them using the word heritage. So this is a cultural heritage in general. So it's getting booming because of the role of the social media. And for these presentations, I have contacted 3 industrial heritage sites in Indonesia. The first is Sawah Lunto Coal Mining World Heritage Sites in West Sumatra, who got in the list of the UNESCO last year in 2019. One and only industrial heritage in the World Heritage list from Indonesia until now. And then the Indonesian Plantation Museums in North Sumatra, and then who opened only a few years ago, and then now they work a lot with the youth. And the Colomadu former sugar factory in Central Java. So I've discussed with them about how they manage the youth segments of their visitors. And these are the summary of what they did for accommodating the youth visitors. Type activities, study and research, tour and family programs, discussion, and partnerships with activity group like sketches, photography, writing, etc. And nature of activities should be affordable, active, show direct results, challenging, competitive, and use a lot of internet facility, and also related to the school activities. And the design thinkings about creating activity for the youth is actually in terms of interpretation, it should be creative, it should be critical, how to connect observations by seeing to the knowledge that they have. And then also appreciations about how sensorial and affective response. So challenge them to questions, to investigate and to experience. and also about relate to other people, about connecting to human experience. So these are for a base of thinking about creating programs. And what important is to show connections between one sides of industrial heritage with themselves. So the sites and I. So, and then also the place where I live, and also the country where I belong to, and even the world, the globe that I'm part of. So a site is only meaningful if a child or a youth connects personally. Of course, selfies is one of the simple ways to do that, like this girl. And I would like to share with you about how a group of community in Central Java, in Temanggung, try to revive its potentials of industrial heritage. Industrial heritage, it doesn't have to be always a plantation site, a big, impressive physical infrastructure. It can be also about reviving potentials of industry locally, economically, socially, culturally. And I think the Spedagi case of Central Java is one of the good examples of that. This is the maps of Indonesia and the locations of the Central Java. And the design thinking of this movement, it's called Spedagi, is actually the realizations of balance between populations in Indonesia, between village and cities, because in Indonesia, urbanizations happens quickly. I think every young people has a tendency to move to big cities, especially the capital of Jakarta, while villages have a lot of potential in terms of economic, social, and everything. And in Indonesia, there are about 74,000 villages. So you can imagine the potential of that. And the design thinking of this movement is first, initiate creative, inspiring programs to encourage young people to make village a preferred living and working place at this time and into the future. They have other missions, but I think this is the most important and related to what our discussions today. And what they do to realize this mission into practice is by looking at the potentials, natural resources locally, how to transform these potentials from nature into something useful to the community, especially the youth, to make them stay, live, and work, and contribute to their villages. And in most villages in Central Java, they have a lot of bamboo. It's a bamboo forest everywhere. I think this is also the case of in many other Asian countries. So this a group of young people also thinking how we revive the potentials of bamboo, because bamboo, as the pictures on the right below, they use as a garbage place. People just throw away everything there. They don't use it. They don't see bamboo as a potential. So with what the group did, I was also part of the group for several years now, try to accommodate the needs of this group. What we did is we assist the local youth organizations. There are several of them, to think about what they can do, and assisting and being partner together with them are very important, but let them to do and to understand. So we start by creating different ideas about how we can use bamboo. One of the product is bicycle. I will show you later the pictures of the beautiful bicycles. And second, also to revive the local knowledge about how to use stones to harden the streets And that is actually a local wisdoms that is disappearing now in Indonesia because government has an asphalt project. But actually, stones are everywhere from the rivers. And then we learn from the older people about the knowledge about how to use stones. So stones and bamboo. And a lot of meetings, believe me, there's hundreds of meetings over the years to finally agree that they will do something about it. So working with community, especially the youth, is not something that you can plan in several months. This is the result. This bamboo bicycle is produced by the local youth, especially. So the workforce are the people below 30 years old, and we also revive a lot of handcrafts from bamboo like this. This is industrial, and also revive the games for the children. So they will they will switch off the internet instead and playing outside. And we also encourage the female, especially, to revive the disappearing local food. This Sunday market twice a month is 100% plastic free. So there is no plastic at all, and everything is come from local. So in terms of sustainability, this is the most sustainable market I ever seen and I ever experienced. We were very proud of this. And economically, besides the local people and the youth work as farmers, it contributes a lot. And the good things is that the youth that migrated to the urban, they come back to the village, if not permanently, but they come more often. They start to think, to see that actually, if I live in the village, it doesn't mean that quality of my life is less. So if you Google, for example, the name of the Sunday market, it's called Papringan in Javanese, and in English it means bamboo, because we only use bamboo as the main source of materials. You can find thousands pictures about it, because this Sunday market become popular. It is 100% free subsidized from government, so government didn't involve a lot, and 100% is local. So I think this is one of the realistic program for Indonesian case, with 74,000 villages and a lot of natural resources, and the young people absolutely become the main player in this. So this is a kind of one of the examples I think that is can be replicated all over Asia. So it's about independency, creativity, and sustainability. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Hasti. Thank you once again for sharing the story with us, and we'll talk to you later, okay? Thank you once again. 非常谢谢Heritage Hands-On 的创办人他刚才呢提到，在印尼其实青年的人口相当的多，因此呢，这个文资的保存工作当然也要有青年的加入，所以他们善用非常多不同的这个方式像是年轻人喜欢的社群媒体啦，像是 IG 或者是脸书等等来散布这个保存文资的这个意识。那透过刚才他分享的像是在印尼棉兰的印尼农园博物馆啦，或者是西苏门答腊省的萨瓦伦多的这个文资的场域，或者是爪哇省的苏加达拉的旧糖厂等等这些地方他们是透过一些不同的活动，像是有这个相关的研究啦，或者是家庭或者是个人的行程导览啦，不同的讨论，或者是跟不同的单位合作来举行不同的活动，像是画画、素描、绘画等等举办这些让大家负担得起，那同时呢又可以激发大家有这个挑战性啦，想要来加入，那又可以透过网络来散布，又跟学校的这个课业有关，让这个活动以及意识呢深植于人心那当然，这个设计的思维也非常的重要，在考量到这些文资场域的活用的话，必须要非常的有创意，必须要问对的问题。那 从这些问题当中呢，去找到它的解方为何，所以就需要有很多的这个调查，需要有很多的跟自身的经验以及感官的连结哦。所以其实一个关键就是这个场域到底跟我有什么样的关系？当人们如果发觉这个场域跟我其实是可以相连结，是可以感受到这个场域重要性的时候，他们就当然就会自然而然想要保育这个场地哦。所以最后 Hasti 呢，他举了一个在中爪哇 Tamangu 的这个地方的这个村落，这个作为最佳的这个例子哦，叫做是 Spedagi。那他们其实呢会去看当地的这个村落，很多年轻人他们都离开村落去大城市。那要活化这个村落的话，他们会先去看这个村落它的自然资源是什么，它的强项在哪里，它有什么样的潜力。那这个地方呢，它有很多竹子的这种天然资源，所以他们经过很多的讨论，决定要用竹子来制作竹制的这个脚踏车哦。那也确实获得了很多的好评。那这个过程当中呢，不止年轻人加入，也有当地的职人、当地的社群也一起来加入，我希望可以让这个村落以及这个文资场域的这个保存工作呢，可长可久，能够变成非常的永续。Okay, thank you once again to Hasti for sharing so much with us. And then back to Taiwan, and next we'd like to hear from Miss Huang. She is the researcher and from the Cultural Assets Preservation Research Center of Zhongyuan Christian University. 那接下来呢，我们要请下面一位讲者，中原大学文化资产保存研究中心黄玉宇研究员来跟我们分享一下长年以来在台湾从事这个产业遗产保存以及研究的经验。有请。
Hello, everyone. Today, I'm very happy to share my preservation and the research experience in Taiwan. In the cover story, we can see left is the railway industry, and in the middle is the tea industry, and the left is the cultural industry. So these three kind of industry is my favorite, and also I have a long time to research. Okay. Case one. Case one is the Taipei Railway Workshop Industry Heritage. In this area is the largest railway workshop in Taiwan, but now they will still stop working. There has 1930 and 1950 and 1960 every generation's building and the fascination in here. But for the locomotion, steam locomotion repair and the diesel locomotion repair, for now electric locomotion repair and carriage. So for the repair, it has the 18 factory. They call it workshop. In the factory, they every kind of the factory has their own repair machine and their own, such like the lathe machine and boiler and captain, such like blacksmith. In the blacksmith has a very important machinery. Is I think everybody knows is the steam hammer. Yeah. In here, now still have many machinery in the library, in the museum. So in the heritage context, I think the machine, how to preservation and the conservation is very important. But in Taiwan, we still have such a cross field about the technology professional to come to enjoy it. I think this is the next stage is very important. Yes. And now it is already to become the National Railway Workshop. So in the railway workshop, the first stage, it comes to conservation, cultural heritage, about the architecture, about the collection, about the railway, and about the carriage. Every kind of the railway heritage, how to conservation and preservation. Case 2, the tea industry heritage. You can see the tea world map, and the center is the equal line. From the equal line to north and the south, 3 degrees is the space, the best tea planting room, tea planting area. So including in Taiwan, such like including in Taiwan and Malaysia and Indonesia and Africa, also including South America. So we just search the tea industry not only in Taiwan, it's about the whole world, about the globalization. In the tea industry context, we have to think about the process. What the process is important. In this all picture, we can see from the mountain and the dry house and the machinery. The finally can be the package. So we can be understand about the industry content from the origin to product. So the process is very important. As we know, the industrialization is mean about the master production. So in the tea production, we can see the process has been changed from hands-on to make tea and become to the machine to make tea. Okay. In the 3 case is the Taiwan most organized oil field, and it start in the 1862. It also have their own context. From the oil upstream, middle, and downstream from Taiwan, you can see all the context inside. In the old drawing picture, we can see in the 1887, 2 American techniques come to Taiwan to discover oil. And the first one, they come to the pole. From the pole to moving, and the big machine and the equipment come to the mountain, and until they come to the oil field, it takes about 1 week. So in the Qing dynasty, it's very hard to take technology to, but now the time is the start about the Taiwan oil field modernization. Okay. The third, I want to talk about in Taiwan. 4 years ago, in Taiwan have a very important policy of the Ministry of Culture. As we know, is mean historical site regeneration. In this very big policy, there were 30 big projects in Taiwan, around north to south. And in Miaoli, we got a very big project. But in this very big project, we got 4 targets. One target is we want to build a library of the memory of the oil field, because the old picture, the old memory, if we don't to recall it, maybe someday it will disappear. The second is the tangible. And the tangible about not only in the conservation and the preservation, how to management is very important. So about the future, how to managing, this is the second very big project. And the third is the intangible. So as we know, intangible is very difficult to preservation, and in this case, we use some kind of the math to interview, and we got to a recording, and we got to some kind of a guidebook or publish. The next one is very important, is how to reconstruction about the historic sites. So in this part, we get a larger of a youth generation to enter onto the project. So you can see this it's a result about the youth camper. They come to a creative workshop. In this show, they got a thing called about the creative and the communication. I think it's the best word to talk about the youth how to join in the heritage. Okay, come back to our university. We also have a very general education about the heritage class and about the Taiwan heritage, industry heritage. The second is I wish the young can come to us to join about every kind of the historic conservation plan. Yeah, they can enjoy the field work by feet, and they can hands-on to survey and drawing the architecture and industry. How about the industry to join? The third, I think it's more important, how to link with national, and how to know the industry heritage in the global, how to conservation and the preservation. Okay. Final, I got the 4 couplets. I think introduce is very important issue in create. Second, how to make to have to open the dialogue. So communication is very important. And third, nature and to get about globalization and the local identification. This is my presentation.
Thank you very much to Huang for your talk. 非常谢谢黄研究员哦。那这个研究员呢，刚才细数自己主要涉猎的是在这个铁道啦、茶叶以及这个石化矿业的这个产业文化资产的保存工作。那另外也提到，其实文化部呢这几年持续的推动活化发展的计划哦。那在目前从北到南就有超过30个计划。那从这个有形空间的治理到无形资产的传承，以及到这个现场的再现以及产业的价值计划等等，其实也是透过这些产业文资现场可以来执行的哦。那在学校当中呢，也不断的来提升这个年轻人对于产业文化资产保存的意识，透过鼓励他们修习入门以及基础的课程。那修习相关的课程之后呢，也可以实际的参与这个保存的工作。那最终呢，当然是希望培育可以跟这个全球不同的这个社群国家能够接轨的人才来让这个工作更加的全面哦。那最后呢，有几个要点跟大家分享的是，希望这个保存工作能够引进更多年轻人的创意。那当然，同时我们必须也要注重的是跨世代的之间对话通畅无虞。那同时呢，也希望能够促进跨领域的参与。那基于在地的认同之下，希望能够透过全球的链接来打造更 加完善的这个产业文资的保存工作。And thank you very much to Ms. Huang. And our next speaker is right now in Malaysia and is going to share how to make heritage conservation work possible through collaborative design and creative partnership. Ladies and gentlemen, next we'd like to hear from Dr. Chee-Keong Teoh, Assistant Professor, School of Architecture and Built Environment of UCSI University. 接下来呢，我们就有请马来西亚 UCSI 大学建筑系助理教授张刚强老师来跟我们分享。Right now?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Very good afternoon to everyone. I'm very delighted to be invited to speak in this occasion. And I was informed that it will be only 10 minutes of sharing, so I would like to quickly go to the presentation, which I'm very much would like to share with the audience about the ideas of collaborative design and creative partnership, which through the observation, I think during the first, these few years, there are many things happen in Malaysia that we are in fact encounter with a lot of, I think most of us also, I think, facing the issues of the heritage conservation. First case that I would like to share is a place that is located not far away from Kuala Lumpur, the capital city of Malaysia, which is called Sungai Buloh, and which is used to be the second largest leprosarium in the world. It was built in 1930s, and during the peak period, there were 2,500 patients living in the settlement. It was a confined settlement, meaning that the people are not allowed to go beyond the boundaries of the settlement. So in 2007, a group of young activists, social activists, was informed about news that the government is going to demolish the site and give way to new development. And this is some photos of the settlement. It's a beautiful site with a lot of old chalets or old houses that is to house the leprosy patients. And in 2007, when the groups of young activists heard the news, and they quickly formed the so-called Safe Valley of Hope solidarity groups. And but unfortunately, I think even we have formed up the team to support the movement of the settlement, but sadly, we cannot stop the development. The things still happen. So 2 years later, 25% of the site was demolished and give way for new development. It was then turned into a campus for a university. Since then, the solidarity group was formed, and it eventually became one very active, I would say, heritage conservation groups in the country, and continue to focus on to raise the awareness of the heritage conservation and trying to reach out to more audience. And we are lucky that to have 75% of the site remain. So there were a lot of activities held on the site. And during the campaign, I think the groups of the young activists like this managed to introduce or managed to reach out to wider audience through the news social network platform, including Facebook and YouTube. This is an old photo showing the people, the residents in the settlements, and the other photo shows that the young activists that involved in the saving campaign of this settlement. And eventually, as a School of Architecture University, we bring ourselves to the place as well, and we turn the project, the settlement into our project site. And this is in fact an invitation from the locals, and they very much hope that the architecture school would help them to turn one existing assembly hall into a museum. So the architecture school bring up this challenge and turns it into a studio project. Eventually, we have 30 over students' proposal exhibited in the building, and after that, we also try to reach out to architects firm, including landscape architects and young architects, to turn this into reality. Yeah. After a few months of fundraising, we proposed to the hospital and managed to get the approval from the authority, and then you see the result, which the construction begin 1 year later after the initiations, and after 1 year, you then see the result, which we successfully turned the existing hall, which is still owned by the settlements, the people. But with this addition space, I think they are very happy to see that we managed to turn this historical place into a place where we will continue to invite young generation and young people to come and make the young generation to be relevant in the preservation. So this is a organization from the building is in fact owned by the Sungai Buloh Hospital and managed by the council of the Sungai Buloh settlement, meaning that they are the former patient in the hospital, inviting a group of young activists and also an organization that involved in conservation movement. Then later we see the involvement of a university and also architects firm, young architects, and involved in terms of bringing this into a real reality project. Yeah. And the second case studies that I'm going to share is a cinema located at the heart of Kuala Lumpur, the capital city. As usual, historical building, which is charming, but sadly, after I think this is also a trend that we are losing all this beautiful old cinema in the cities. So a few years ago, a group of young architects found this interesting place, which was in fact after the fire incident, and they went into the building and checked the condition of the building and was amazed by the structures and very dramatic feeling of the ruined spaces, as what I think most of us has experienced this, especially when we are visiting the industrial heritage site. So then it brings to another formation of a group of creative partnerships involving architects, involving lawyers, also involving landscape architects, entrepreneurs. And with this, in fact, this group of young architects and also with some, I would call it successful architects who then turn into mentor for the entire projects, eventually form a group of a company and try to bring new ideas and inject into this old building. So, which is later on called Rex KL. Rex is the original names of the cinema. And in this manifesto, it was about bottom-up initiatives, pretty much the same with Hasti, how she shared the ideas of the projects run by the community. I think all the projects shared from here are all bottom-up and initiatives. We receive no funding from the government. And then the idea is that to turn this project into self-support and self-sustained, and also embracing the old and the new, and regenerates and reactivates the historical district. And due to the reason that the cinema is located right at the heart, which is an old district in the city, so the idea is to turn and also to invite the community into these big spaces. And many people would ask about how the idea come about and how they are able to sustain the business. In fact, this is very much inspired by the local business, which usually in Malaysia, there are many we call kopitiam, which are the traditional coffee shops, where the owner runs vendors that are store that are selling drinks, but they compartmentalize the spaces and rent it to different vendors. Some are selling noodles, some are selling fried noodles and rice and other kind of cuisines. And all these contributions of the money would make this business model possible. So the idea is to share the spaces within groups of young vendors and entrepreneurs so that everyone would chip in and ideas and also the money in order to sustain this model. So these are the photos. The idea is to maintain the existing features or identity of the building. So the young architects, in fact, are very sensitively keeping the original elements in the building. And this eventually turned into a very exciting place, which I think we seldom see this kind of thing, especially when we talk about a theater. It should be a proper setup theater, but in this case, it's a theater in the room. So which eventually caught the attention of many people and eventually become a very, very hot place in the city. Many activities was held in the building. And the third place I'm going to share is similar to Teoh, which is another industrial heritage, which is a rundown warehouse, and it has been sold to a developer. And during a site visit to this building, and through a connection from a friend and this group of young architects, and also, in fact, some of them are also involved in Teoh and also the Sungai Buloh project. So it eventually reached out to the owners of the site and managed to get the consent of the owners, who is a developer of this site, and understand that this is basically a land bank, so they have no intention to develop the site for a period of maybe within 5 years. So then the developer are kind enough to give this space to another company, which we eventually formed another company called Kongsi KL. Kongsi is literally translated from the local dialect, which means share. So KL means Kuala Lumpur. So it's basically the same idea that the groups consist of architects, strategic creative directors, event planners, and also the developer themselves as a venue sponsor. So within this group, there is a hired manager who receives salary and eventually become the manager of the place. So these ideas of Kongsi KL, the manifesto embraces the spirits of sharing within the commune, encourages the sharing of time, talent, space, resources, and activities with the minimum monetary exchange. And also it believes that in the nurturing of the communal spirits to inspire a sense of unity and connection with each other. And it also promotes eccentric happenings and non-commercial pop-up events that are specific to the space. So due to the fact that the place, in fact, is free, so this group of companies do not need to pay the rental for the owners of the place. So then the idea is that to share this space with young designers, young architects, and young arts performance, so that we eventually can actually bring up and activate the old districts. So lastly, I'm going to quickly share the ideas of this organization, which is in fact a loose organization, consists of the core members who are in fact successful architects, and also some people who have established their own career and they have connections to the resources, being the sovereign funding agency and also some other investors. And surrounded by, as you can see, the outer rings, the art groups, studios, offices, which are the groups of young people, young artists who are not, in fact, registered with this group of core members, but they are associated with it. So during as we manage the site, this is the scenario when there's a certain event happen. Perhaps all the partners in the core groups will be involved as an advisor, and there will be different art group joining the events, and the manager will be the people who coordinate. And sometimes it will change the collaboration will change among the different groups. Yeah, so this is basically the ideas and how this creative partnership happened. And in fact, this group of people, in fact, also works together with another core groups. This is what happened in Malaysia. Thank you. This is my sharing.
Thank you very much to Professor Teoh. 非常谢谢张教授的分享哦。那透过刚才分享3个实例哦，第一个呢是这个马来西亚的双溪毛诺的疗养院，本来是麻风病院的，但是透过这个青年的倡议以及相关的活动，那以及大家不同单位的奔走呢，引进这个年轻人，引进大学的建筑系，引进不同的这些年轻的族群呢，一起来把这个社群给它构筑起来。那同时也透过线上的募资来筹措资金。那同时呢，还有第2、第3个这个例子。NCKU 是这个旧的戏院所改造的，或者是像这个空气 KL 呢，是把它打造成一个当代艺术或者是年轻的建筑师、艺术家可以聚集在一起展现创意的地方哦。那透过的都是这种协同设计以及创意，召集不同的创意伙伴。所以我们看到这几个不同的例子里面，有这个建筑师、有景观设计师、有律师，或者是等等的，不管是年轻的或者是已经成名的这个已经在这个业界很久的这个专家呢，都已经加入到这个社群里面呢。最后分享的是他们的这种模式哦，在最内圈管理圈，那可能第2圈呢是一些关系的单位及关系，他们比较能够找到相关的资源，比较能够去找到资金的来源，或者是跟这个相关的主管单位他们是有联系的，然后再有。真的是相关的这些要加入的青年建筑师啦，或者是相关的这些团体哦。那这个营运的模式呢，是随时可以调整，非常具有弹性的。所以我们从这个张老师他的分享，那我们看到马来西亚这个当地的文资的活化以及保存的工作，其实相当具有韧性、弹性。那同时也可以随着不同的情况来调整。And thank you very much to Professor Teoh. And lastly, we'd like to hear a very important person in Taiwan's local heritage conservation community, and Ms. Yu-Fang Shang. She's also an expert of managing various heritage and cultural sites here in Taiwan. 那接下来呢，我们要请到台湾当地的这个文资场域管理以及活化的专家商玉芳。Let's welcome Ms. Shang. 有请。
Hello, everybody. I want to share my experience, which is focused on 2 heritage. One is in the middle of Taiwan, and the other one is in the south of Taiwan. And they are all the heritage all for the industry, for the sugar. Yes, sugar is so sweet. And when we touch a sugar refinery, factory like that, we are not only see the buildings. I remember when I was in Europe, I studied in the Netherlands because I studied for sustainable building and urban management. And I remember my professor at the first class, and he asked me about, okay, what do you care? And what do you care? This is output, outcome, and you have to figure out what you like to become outcome, and then you can put the input. So I cannot realize that, but after I taught the heritage, I find out, wow, I love it so much, and I want to share so many stories to everybody. So then I suppose that would be my outcome. Yes. Sorry. Okay, before that, 60 years ago, because I studied in architecture, so also I wish myself as designer and great designer. And 60 years ago, I designed this kind of building. It's take 10 million Taiwanese money. And after 6 months, we tear it away because it's only for show the commercial buildings, and it's for temporaries. This is one of my work, and I designed it very well. I'm so proud of that. But when my colleague always ask me, because they have a very beautiful interior design, and also they live in the very expensive furniture, they always ask me,
okay, what can I hang on my blank wall? And what kind of paint? And do you have an artist to introduce to me? And I always say, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't know anyone of Taiwanese artist. I only know the Netherlands artist, but he already dead, and maybe you can buy a copy one. So I'm so shy on that, but finally I got the one chance, and it was 15 years ago. I have a chance to go back to Tainan. This is the industry area development, which is now they have a new name of Tree Valley in industry area. But as you see, this land is sugar land. It's all planted on the sugar. But all the sugar land will be destroyed, become a new modern industry for TV program, TV monitor, like that. But because I'm designer, so I work as an architect and landscaping design. So when I go to the field trip, and when you go deeper, I saw that because in the land, just only 1 minute high, and you can find the old body, but it is my parents' is 4,800 years ago person. The whole bone will just believe and show in front of you. Suddenly, I cannot design anymore. After I saw my ancients and saw people who live in 4,000 years ago, I cannot design anymore. So I shock and I lie to my clients, say, oh, maybe we can do some activities, or maybe we can do more research, and then I can show you more my design. But I quit my job. At that moment, one of my best friends, he said, oh, maybe you can meet another friend, and he know he know many artists, maybe they can help you. So I go to the Teoh sugar refinery to find him. So when I go there, I saw him, what he's doing, because he is going to against the MRT program project, which is they have a very big urban planning, and the industry heritage is going to destroy the 30 hectares. They think there's no valuable, they're not treasure, so they are going to destroy everything, including of trees. The trees is 100 years old trees, and they are thousands of trees. So since he is 25 years old, is still young and patient, and that is 20 years ago, he tried to stop the urban planning and stop the commercial area, because he wants to preserve the industry area, the industry heritage in Teoh sugar refinery. So he took off his shoes and tied himself on trees and to stop the development. So then the Teoh refinery become the heritage, which is protected. But also the artists, what they are doing kind of things. So they have to put some scent on their face, and they may have to do some exhibition or performance to stop the so fast and modernized to tear off the old things, the old building, and so the artist is so busy on that. So after I know that all of these artists, and also I know the Teoh industry heritage, and this is the sugar refinery, which is set established in 1901, so it's almost 120 years. Yes, so it looks so old and so pretty and so valuable. So after 3 years, I have an opportunity. I decided to rent a a place in the industry area. There's a guest house area, so I rented 1 million Taiwanese money for years, and rented 10 years. So I spent 10,000 Taiwanese money, just rented from the Taiwan Sugar Company. And it's not only rent, and so I also cooperate some companies, and also we find some shareholder to try to restore it. So maybe I spent also 10 million Taiwanese money to restore it. And also over there, because we need young generation to accompany with us, and so I hire some designer and also hire some employees, and they can work for that and also spend a lot of money. Yeah. So we give them the new name, and it's a cute name, so Cat. And also we try to make some logo on that. And also the first thing I make a gallery because I want to know the artist. And we have some partnerships. And there's 1 year I met 2 artists, and they say they want a project to the community. So I designed a structure, and which is named Formosa World Painting Groups. And I bring the artists to the communities and painting the local stories. And this is kind of a working museum and totally public participation. So 300 artists are working on that. So finally, I know not only one Taiwanese artist, I know 300 Taiwanese artists. So we made a group, the New Taiwan Formosa Painting Groups. And also you can see the painting. It's very localized and related to the local, and also go to the community and share with the kids and also the old men. So I think the heritage is a very important container of civilizations. So only way you have to live there, and you can pass that. Okay? I didn't finish my presentation. Can I have one more? Yes? Okay, and 4 years ago, I also rent a heritage in the middle of Taiwan. And it's also a guest house for the sugar factory. And over there, we learn South music and South drama, like that. And after I live in the heritage, I find that I have to, we live there, and we eat there, and we drink there. So we need wine. So when I come out, is we plant a lot of sugar cane, and we produce a lot of sugar, but we don't have a Taiwanese wine. So we make wine, and it's rum wine, and use the Taiwan Aboriginal trees to become a tent to preserve the wine and become our Taiwanese wine. And we also share assistance, and I call 30%, and everybody can share the heritage, and because they spend some money and they can share the heritage for one night, and then we can hire more young generation to get involved with that. So what I'm saying, the heritage now becomes a livelihood, and we just display there because we just display our life like that. So this is our colleague, they married there. So then we have a business model for marriage. It's make a lot of money. Yes, and also I married myself there again. And also this year we attracted the French director to come to our heritage to direct cinema, Taiwan president. Yes, and this is in Sugar Refinery, and this is in Yu-Sui-Kaku. So I become the actress. So I think it's very impossible to alive the culture and to not only preserve the civilization, but you also have to live like like nature, like yourself. So also we need somebody to make it happen. So as I said, I spent 10 million to hire the young generation. So we have 3 companies and 2 organizations. And after these 10 years, I give my shareholder to them. And all the deputy, me and my husband, we got the deputy. So, but anyway, we train a lot of young generations during these 16 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Shang， 非常谢谢我们的专家。那刚才呢分享的是，其实他保存这条路呢，可以说从他的荷兰留学的这个经验说起哦。想要什么成果，他决定他想要投入这个文化资产，可以带给他最大的这个满足感。所以分享了有这个在刚才南部的这个优阿桃的这个糖厂的这个营运哦，带入这个不同的年轻的艺术家啦，那透过这种当地的这种艺术计划的营造，可以打造这种行动的美术馆，让更多的年轻人参与到这个计划里面。那同时呢，成立了新台湾壁画队等的，其实看这种文化资产的场域，它是承先启后的角色哦。那同时呢，在中部虎尾呢，也经营了这个永翠阁哦。那从这个里面呢，去找不同的经营的商业模式，可以开放给婚摄来拍照啦，可以办影展啦，可以让我们看到文化的各种不同性，让这个文化资产呢融入我们的生活当中。And now we are going to have some more discussion with and with that, moderator Professor Shuenn Liou.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank you all for the contribution to the sharing of all the past experiences. So in the following section, I would like to pose a number of questions to our speakers, and hopefully we have some more in-depth sharing and also have more insights to the project they just shared with us. My first question would be for Hasti. Hi, Hasti. Long time no see. I'm very impressed by the bamboo project in the Central Java. And actually, I also, at C-Hub, we have the bamboo bicycle. Since back to 2017, we organized international exhibition, design exhibition on circular economy. So when you show the whole project, actually I get a better idea of the region and the local materials and the engagement of different people who work on the wider spectrum of the plantation preservation and so on and so forth. So my question would be, how would you achieve the balance between the society, the environment, and also I think many of them indicate the economy. I think the 3 issues are quite critical to affect to each other. Now up to date, would the project achieve the balance? That's my first question. And the second question would be from the audience. They are very curious about the application of design thinking. How would you apply this method to call for the youth participation in this project? Can you also explain a little bit more on these 2 issues?
Okay, so first of all, this movement is not new, but has been explored more than 15 years by a group of Indonesians, a small group of idealist Indonesians, and it took years to finally mature, to realize, and also it took there were a lot of challenges and problems about it, but I think the realizations of the bicycle products who finally achieve international attentions. This bicycle has a high quality and receive a lot of international prize. That was the start, and then the Sunday market came later. Economic aspect is very important because there are a lot of heritage initiatives in Indonesia become cost center instead of profit centers. And that make people believe that heritage related to cost, it doesn't give benefit to the community. While if you would like to create a workforce in industrial heritage, especially for the young, first of all, you have to be sure that the project is beneficial economically. So the bicycle productions, the Sunday markets, it gives instance proof to the local community, especially the youth and the participants, that they earn something. They can live from what they do. So they have to believe in it. And when they believe, it is smoother to keep going. And what another aspect which is very important is how to multiply these initiatives which already approved to be beneficial to other communities. So now in Indonesia, this kind of design thinking is replicated in other places, but also attract attentions of the government officers until the central level, so from Jakarta, like the ministerial level. So now the replications of this design thinking that is also guarantee the sustainability. The basic principles is go local, go independent, don't expect too much support from subsidized, and be honest to your programs. Concentrate on local materials, on local capacity, and the idea of sustainability, it is very important for the organizations, but the large public doesn't have to understand all these terms about sustainability, because they don't bother. We deal with the large community, not academicians. But it is important to be consistent about the sustainability, economically, socially, and culturally. And also, the last thing I want to say about this is there should be a group of a small group of people who assist the implementations of this to make sure that it is according to the principles of sustainability, of independency. So the assistance of a small group of idealists who believe in the idea, it is very critical. Without assistance of this small group of people, the quality of the programs is not guaranteed, and especially when you already deal with government institutions and private sectors who want to sponsor the programs, you still have to keep your idealism. Do not be too quickly to say yes. Yeah, because it is very important that community have to believe in themselves. Do not depend on subsidies. I think in Asian context, this is very relevant. Outside the academic world, I said. I think from the bottom-up movement, yes.
Totally agree. I think it's very important to keep the community and the society more independent and have its own identity. Even we receive some subsidy, but we need to keep on our idealism to also keep a balance, like riding a bicycle. Okay, and and I also like to add one point, because next year we will have a field school to be organized in Taiwan. And in your presentation, you mentioned plantation and some other related industry like sugar industry. Both are very important in Indonesia and Taiwan. Hopefully, I can invite you also, maybe some of the students and facilitators from your group as well. Okay?
Thank you.
And also, the second question would be for Professor Zhang Ji-Qiang. Hello, Professor Zhang? Yeah, very nice to see you. And the presentation is very impressive. And because both of us are actually teaching at the Department of Architecture in the university, I'm very curious how you lead the group of students to engage with the wonderful project at the beginning, also to participate in the exhibition, and further, I don't know whether in the later stage of the management or operation. And so my question would be, as the professor, how would you incorporate such project, real-world project, into your course? And how would it affect students' change in terms of the mindset and the skill in the industrial heritage preservation or in a wider spectrum of cultural heritage preservation? Can you explain a little bit more on this aspect?
Yeah, thank you, Professor Liu. Yeah, I think this is a very important question that as the teaching staff in the university, I think traditionally we have a lot of simulation, a lot of projects that the lecturer will introduce to the students, for instance, that architectural design projects, and normally will be just a virtual project, it wouldn't be a real project. And we did not engage with any proper the local community or client. But since 5 years ago, I tried another way, which I was lucky enough to be invited, and also participate in the conservation movement. So I thought that maybe it's a time for me to bring this movement into teaching. But the thing is that during the discussion and conversation with the group of activists and also the, I'm talking about the Sungai Buloh leprosy settlements, we have to make sure that we tell them what is the constraints, what we can do and what we cannot. Yeah. For instance, that for teaching, we definitely will have to make sure that this is aligned with our teaching, with our syllabus. For instance, that the scope of the projects, the scale of the projects, the difficulty. So after a few rounds of discussion and also to gain some understandings among the people who involved, we decided to take the challenge, which we told the community that if they agree that these projects would go through the university and they cannot rush, they cannot expect that we can come up with a design solution as quick as with a month, that like what those architects would do, but instead it will be at least one semester's projects. So in that case, that the community will have to wait and they will have to understand the objective of education. Yeah. So after one project that we successfully carry out at the Sungai Buloh settlement, and we get another invitation and another invitation. I think this is something that we have, I think thanks to this opportunity given by the community, we built up a portfolio that showcased to the community that, in fact, what architecture school can do to benefit and relate to the actual community. And in terms of the limitation, I would say, it is about time. Yeah, it is about time spending on the site. So we try to speak to a group of lecturers within that particular semester. We will talk to different lecturers who are taking teaching different subjects, but in the same semester, we try to integrate the assignments. Yeah, so that students can in fact spend more time and they can travel to the site more to engage with the community. Yeah, this is the way how we do it.
In the end of your presentation, you mentioned
Yeah. Yes.
Different stakeholders or actors engaged in the very complex project of the cultural heritage preservation. And would you also bring students to such complexity? And what would be the difficulty and opportunities you perceive or you observe from such kind of engagement? I'm wondering whether you think it's also a good chance for the student to be a part of the group or be the observer on the projects. How about your observation on this?
In fact, for the organization that I show, a few of the architects are in fact also my teaching partner. Some of them are my part-time lecturers, and also the curators or the manager was my students. Yeah. So, and also, as you can see that in the business model, They are at the outer rings. There are many groups, including arts groups and also young architects offices. So those people are in fact the younger generations. Perhaps some of them are just fresh graduated from School of Architecture, and they eventually join the forces. And the good things for this kind of collaboration, I would call it, it is in fact a registered company or either a registered association. But the role of the core members are in fact, a lot of people are in fact very much afraid of this kind of engagement because you must have a lot of commitment into making this possible. But the good thing is that as you're getting more and more people involved, that for instance, that I did not participate the event for the past half years because there are many people actually taking care of that part. Yeah, and also with this interesting and alternative organization, I think providing that there are people book the slots and they organize the event and providing that is advisor and when it needs resources, when it needs advice, and there are people that could quickly jump in and collaborate and help. Yeah, this is the way how we see that probably a breakthrough in terms of let's say for example the economic factors that is most of our concern. In this case, we don't have to worry that because through the core members, in fact, the core members are established architects and lawyers. You know, I'm one member of them, but in fact, for these core members, you don't have to worry about the commitment. In fact, what the role of this core member is that to seek another connection through your connection to get in resources. And because the young people, if they want to engage in this thing, probably they are due to the fact that they do not have good connection because they are just establishing. Yeah. So what the well-established architects can help is that to pair the young people with the funding resources provider or maybe some other collaborators.
Thank you, Professor Chang.
Thank you.
Thank you for your sharing. And now I would like to turn back to Taiwanese perspective. My first question would be for Dr. Li. In your presentation, you raised the very important issue about the association of the preservation in Taiwan with SDGs 17. How would you see the importance, and why would you like to link this to the global guideline or goals? Would you further elaborate a little bit?
Yes, thank you, Professor Liu. I think SDG have been talked for years, but however, until this year, the first culture index was be announced, and the expansion of heritage is the very first listed in this 17 target.
Yes.
So, which means from 4 category of this cultural index, from the environment and resilience, from the prosperity and livelihood, from the inclusion and participation, and knowledge and skill, which means heritage can be a lead index to streaming a result and to deliver to these 4 categories. So this is why it's not from my perspective, but it's the document saying the expenditure of heritage is the very vital issue. I think the reason is we all know this is the fact. Actually, the heritage is costly. It need money, it need time, but a lot of So the next challenge we do is not to get more money or more manpower or more time. We need to make the expenditure efficiency and effectively. So this is the why I think from I share some my previous experience in my slides. So I stream some idea I think can recall or respond to the importance of the expenditure of heritage we need to looking after. So we not to, as I say in the one tip, we in my slide, we cannot feel relief once we have the conservation or resource guaranteed, because once you have the guarantee, then it's the challenge to begin.
For sharing, and I also like to ask Ms. Huang. I'm very impressed by your rich research experiences in the past decades. It also includes major aspects of Taiwan's industrial heritage preservation. And I consider yourself as also not only as a researcher, but also a coach and also facilitator, because I believe in your team, you have to lead a group of young generation people. And would you share some more experience how you would see their weakness and their strengths? How would you cover some of the drawbacks during the projects? How would you facilitate their growth and also let them become more skillful and to get more awareness at the beginning?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Liu. In our yes, such like Professor Liu said, we have many young students come to join us in every kind of like heritage conservation. But the young people's weakness is about the research, not so to and the history. So the first one, I would to training land to attach and to keep going and but in most of the we continue to do that because it's very hard work. Yes, but in the a stranger, in the some of the people, they will be continue to keep going to touch the heritage conservation, and they will be continue still working in the railway workshop. But now it's very hard to have a few students can be do that, but I have more interesting for the Dr. Chung. Yes, well, I have been to lead the student come to Malaysia to do the tea, to do the tea industry heritage survey, because such like I talk about it. Tea industry is a very global nation, and Malaysia still have the British colonial period, very important tea plantation in Cameron Highland. In that experience, I think the student can be linked the local and the global, and think about all about the world is considered about the economic, not only in the Taiwan. Yes, I think that's a very interesting experience. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. My last question is for Ms. Shang. Actually, from your presentation, we understand you actually educated in architecture. You also played a role of designer through your career, and eventually, gradually, you also become a curator to help to integrate different resources, and also finally, you become a money raiser and like a general manager, because gradually you understand the complexity, and you have to call more people to participate, from the raising of the awareness to the design planning and money finding, and for the further sustainability of the sites. So you actually personally, you have experienced the whole range of the expertise. Can you share with us what kind of difficulties. The most difficult part of working from the very beginning toward the end, and also what would be the opportunities you experienced, would be help the young generation to really find a path to join. What I mean is that if you come back to 20 years before, if you had a chance to get engaged with such kind of project, what would you advise the young generation? Because you have accumulated so much experiences. Share with us.
Maybe I can answer for young generation first, because as I say from the beginning, I'm not only pretending I'm living in the street heritage. I'm living there. So I just show the way I live. Yes, I invent some furniture, and also I invent some infrastructure. For that is, I think that's for myself, because I want to use that. Yeah, so I'm not only a storyteller. I don't want to be that. I'm not only a research man, or I'm not only a designer. You know, as a designer, I always say, I design for you. But as a designer, it's pity nobody design for themselves.
Yes.
So that's why 12 years ago I decided to design myself. Yes, and also because when I design myself and I use the facility, and I also live in the facility, and after that I share the facility and share the lifestyle with people, and I share this very happily.
Yes.
So we eat there, barbecue there, and drink over there, and have more fun with the artists. And we invite so many international artists that join with us and have more fun. And then the young generation, when I look at us, and they think, oh, if we preserve heritage, it's not so difficult, because you just design for yourself. But also you have to follow some rules. Yes, for the preservation rule, like that. But also when you design for yourself and you share your lifestyle to everybody, you will feel very happy, and that will become your lifestyle. And then the young generation will try to learn your lifestyle. So before I came to this speech, then I calculated during my driving way. I calculated, well, maybe I have cooperated with 100 young generations, but actually,
They are all young. You are all young.
He said to me, yeah, I don't know how many years, but maybe some cooperation or some collaborations projects, and or maybe some speech. And most of the people, the young generation, we hire because we give them money. They can share life, and they live there for no doubtly. And also they want to have a lifestyle. Once they want to have a lifestyle, now they grow up, they can go out. So that's why we create 3 companies and 2 organizations. And because different companies, you can engage and you can invite different stakeholders to get involved with that. For instance, we have a film festival organization, and also we have arts organizations. So you can invite different people to engage and to become a participant, and they can give money. And also they have a lot of enterprise, and they do some terrible things about the environment, so they want to contribute to their money. So after all, we give the shareholder to the young generation. So now they are spread out in Taiwan everywhere. Now they are in Jiayi, in Pingtung, everywhere. But I'm so glad to help to. I'm not saying I'm help them, because we have a great movement in the container. So I think we are doing the civilizations. We want to pass the civilization to the young generation. So they just get it, and then they find a location, find a site. Maybe just like say, the sites are suitable for them, and they can do whatever they want. Yeah, they can try to make the best way to preserve it. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And in the end, I also like to call for any of our speakers to just drop a line to conclude your speech, or you would like to add any points at this moment before I make the conclusion for this. Yes, please, Dr. Lee.
It's very thrilling for myself because I have this kind of opportunity to meet Professor Liu again and Hasti again, and the person I admired before, never only heard their name, but today I can see they in scene in the same screen. Yeah.
In pandemic.
Yes, and I also want to. I think it's a very encouraging idea from all the speakers. Particularly, I want to highlight an idea, a concept I still in developing the heritage entrepreneurship. I think the Shang, Miss Shang, is just like the
Entrepreneur.
angel investor for the young entrepreneur.
Exactly.
So I think for the industrial heritage, the Professor Huang is like the startup director to lead the heritage to keep activate. I think this is the way we don't need to afraid the fail to reuse that. Every failed experience is building up for next succeed. And the one lesson I want to address in my point of view, I don't think the youth is defined by the age, but it's defined by how you enthusiasm, how you full of passion is across every generation. Every generation you participate in industrial heritage, you are the young participant.
Thank you very much. Hasti and Professor Zhang, would you like to also make a point in the end? Any of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Professor Teoh.
Okay.
When first in 2020?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think it's really important that whoever in fact participate in this heritage conservation, I think it is really important to make the young interest in the conservation. And I think the key thing is that we will have to make themselves relevant. So I think through share resources, I think we are moving to a new era that everybody is talking about share economy, right? I think heritage is some kind of resources that we can share with the younger generation, that to provide platform, and also through the mentorships of the perhaps established people, then I think this thing can be done. Yeah, that is my sharing. Thank you.
Hasti, your turn.
Yes, thank you very much. Industrial heritage in Asia is very exciting because it is booming and it is relatively in the new pace. So we can learn a lot from other parts of the countries. But the very important point is to find Asian ways of preserving industrial heritage. And although the community bottom-up approach is important, but academic and government sectors are also crucial. Only if three triangles points cooperate, community, government, and academics and private sectors, then we can achieve a lot. So everyone plays important roles as practitioners, scientists, or policymakers. So let's cooperate. It's exciting.
Sure. Okay. And then Ms. Huang. Okay. Please.
Maybe we'll need 1 more hour.
Yeah, 1 more hour. Can I have an extension? Please.
Okay, I want to correspond to the young generations. I'm so happy about that because we tried so many iron the mistake. Yeah, after 25 years, and I'm getting old.
No, you're much younger than me.
Yeah, and also my husband, but but I think that because so many mistakes, so we built on the mistake and to find out the Asia solutions. I think it's very important because most of the designer, when they are imagine in the imagination of how to restore the heritage. Most of that is making a coffee shop or making a very great design, and and everybody will come.
Egoism.
Yeah, but I think there's another way. You have to find locally and to make mistake, and maybe small mistake, and build on the mistake, and maybe big mistake, so you can get more money to figure out the mistake. So we can build our own experience. Like me, still I'm trying to make mistake for 3 years because I'm talking about we are making the Taiwanese wine.
Yes.
Yes, it is a sugarcane wine because we plant sugarcane for a decade, but we never produce our own wine. Why? Because we've been colonized hundreds years. So
But
maybe 400 years.
You are doing, right?
Yeah, maybe 400 years. So we try to liberate ourselves.
Yes.
Yes, and not liberate by alcohol, but want to liberate the industry, new industries. Because this land grow up the sugarcane for us, we cannot treat us as old things, only a heritage, only an old building, and make a lot of exhibition only. We think we can find a new solution to find the land can grow the sugarcane. So what can we do about the sugarcane? So our sugarcane project is it's also related to the young generations. So we want to group cooperation groups for the young generation, and everybody go to the countryside to plant the sugarcane. But their major job is what they do as a designer or mathematics teacher or become a research. But their sub jobs is planting the sugarcane because planting sugarcane is a low label, but made of wine is high economic.
Knowledge.
Yeah, high economic. And then we can call the enterprise, the businessman, to pay back more because they have many environmental problems for the land, so they have to pay back. So yeah, so this is our new projects. But we tried 3 years, still made mistake. Yes. Yeah.
Hey, thank you very much. And finally, the last one, Ms. Huang.
Yes. I will talk to the young generation. Let's fall in love with industry heritage. Because first, you have to know it, and the second, you have to understand it. And finally, you will enjoy it. Enjoy every kind of the industry heritage and finally you will come to conservation and the preservation about the sustainable. Yes, I think that is my future come to. I hope the industry heritage will be that. Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you very much. They are making conclusions already. So my job is so easy. But I really learned a lot from the 5 speakers myself. They have also shared many of their wisdoms, like the final point about the trial and error, about love and passion, and about the sharing economy, and about what Hasti talking about, what she is talking about. Very impressed.
Share activity.
Asian realities. Okay, we have to find our own reality and our own identity, and also figure out our own problem solving. Okay, and yours, entrepreneurship, right? So actually, these are a number of keywords we have all learned from all the speakers. And my job actually also have to conclude this section by the 2 points I like to share with all of you. First has to do with the levels of engagement. in which I would like to draw your attention to the first level of engagement is about awareness. I think all of the speakers address these issues has to do with attitude, value, and scope of industrial heritage preservation. And secondly, it has also to do with ideation. We need to find a new way of creativity through such methods like design thinking and collaborative way of working together. So it also has to link with contemporary living and find out your own lifestyle. And second level of engagement would be the practical participation. It's very important for all of you actually bringing the real world problems for the young generations. And we have to address the issue from simple, small, to big and complex, because no one can really solve the problems right away, which I think Dr. Lee has addressed the 5 exclusions, to be more careful on that. And Hasti also addressed the issue of hands-on experience. And all of us really experience and also emphasize on teamwork spirit. As to the third level of engagement would be collaboration. I think it's very important to emphasize the inter and cross-disciplinary collaboration, and also have to address our own domestic and international connection. It also corresponds to the future learning of the young generation, which are learning to know for the first level, and learning to do and learning to work together for the second level. And finally, the third level would be learning to connect. And finally, the second point is the expectation for us to facilitate, to foster our young generation toward a better attitude and vision toward our environment. Because culture or industrial heritage preservation is not its environment alone. It has to do with a wider and more holistic approach to our own sustainability of the environment. So these are the 2 points I would like to conclude this section. And thank you for all the speakers' contribution, and thank you for the audience online. And wish you all stay healthy, and also hope we can meet sometime in the future together, physically or online soon. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you very much,
Bye.
Dr. Liu and all the speakers. 那最后呢，很快的总结一下这个刘教授最后为我们今天论坛所总结出来的心得哦，也就是如果要加强青年的参与的话呢，我们可以透过几个层次，像是第一个，可以透过改变你的态度，确立价值，扩大规模，同时创意发想，并且加强连结，来提升这个文化资产保存的意识。那同时呢，第二个层次，也就是透过让这些青年参与实际的实务的经验以及文资保存的计划，来加强他们实务上面所可以面临到、接触到的不同的这些面向哦。第三个当然就是彼此的合作。彼此的协作，因此呢，最后呢是希望我们都能够朝我们共同的目标、共同的期许来前进。我们年轻人可以看到未来的这个愿景、文化保存以及产业文资的保存呢，是为了让我们能够有一个更好、更永续的环境，让我们共同打造这个能够永续生存的生态体系哦。Okay, and I have to thank our moderator and all the speakers for putting up such a great discussion for us once again. And before we end today's forum, I have some very important news to share with you. Yeah, before your screen or you're using your mobile phone right now, next year in 2021, we're going to have the U School and workshop held here in Taiwan. 明年呢，2021年我们会在台湾举办 U School 青年学校哦。And in 2022, the 4th Forum on Asian Industrial Heritage Conservation India as well as the field school。那2022年呢，我们第4届的亚洲产业文化资产论坛以及田野学校呢，会在印度盛大的举行哦。那都欢迎大家可以踊跃的参加。We look forward to your coming, and you are more than welcome to join us for the forum. And everyone, thank you once again for your time. Before we meet you in person, everybody please stay safe and stay healthy. See you and bye-bye. Bye-bye.